Stay tuned for Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas, a leading financial retirement strategist and the founder of Soutas Financial and Insurance Solutions, right here in Fresno. Every week, Dale discusses pressing financial topics of the week, ranging from reliable income strategies to our financial markets, including Social Security, tax strategies, wealth management, RMDs, legacy planning, long-term care solutions, and most importantly, how to make sure you have enough guaranteed lifetime income to retire your way with choice and dignity. From taxes to trends to total transparency, Dale covers it all. And now, here is Retire Your Way and Dale Soutas. That's right. Welcome to Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial, here to help you be and stay retired. We have, starting the show off already.
Yeah.
From 1978. What's going on? We have questions.
Let me leave the booth. I'll go answer the phone. You can just talk to everybody.
Wait, wouldn't you? Oh, I was going to say something to get me in trouble. But I just been watching Mad Men. It's been re-released on AMC, so I've been watching it. Don't you have a secretary for that? We can't use that word anymore. Can't use that.
We got a whole staff. We have wonderful staff.
We have wonderful staffing.
Wonderful reception.
Hey, we got questions today, and that's why the phone is ringing. We want to make sure that you are feeling ready and comfortable to be retired. But how exactly do you know if you're ready? And so I've got an assessment here, and I've got everything from, is it $1 million, and what happens if you can make modestly 3.5%, and how do you create $3,000 or $4,000 a month in income? But Dale, you've had a couple of people come in recently. They weren't the same ages, but it seems like they both had kind of the same issue. Yeah,
and I see the same things, the little gimmicks and games of, am I ready because I got this, or I don't have that, or,
I see with the newspaper. I see this all the time in Yahoo. Yeah. Oh, I've got this month saved. Am I ready?
Exactly. So, no, I've had a couple different ones just recently. A lady I've been working with for a while, just kind of coaching her on, she's not sure she's, sure about retiring right away. And she's only working part-time.
I'm sorry, wait, did you say her age? How old is she?
29, of course.
Come on, Dale.
No, she's 75, husband's approaching 80, and she's still working part-time. And, she's still kind of iffy on, well, can I really retire? And I'm like, well, yeah, you can. But then I had somebody younger who's not even 59 yet, and he's moving, to the coast, and he's got some things going, which is really good. And, so showing him, because his goal is, maybe at 65, retiring. So, I'm two different scenarios, two different, situations, but, we work with, and so how do you determine? It boils down to, well, what kind of lifestyle do you want when you stop working? Well, I want the same one. Okay. Well, then it means you need money to pay the bills. You need money to play. And so what is it? What's the amount? So it's easier to help people see that they can retire if I know, well, what do you need to pay the bills, right? You need a paycheck. So when you stop working, you don't have that paycheck. So how are we going to replace that? Is Social Security going to be enough? Maybe you have a pension. Is that going to be enough? And then what kind of play do you want to do? You want to take a trip, or you want to, what are the things you want to do in retirement? Which again is some of the hardest questions people think hard to get out of people. What do you really want to do? Well, I might want to travel, or do this and that. So
let me ask you, on your 75-some-year-old, still working a little bit. Wonderful. You don't have to tell us what industry. Let's keep the person private. But what is it for this woman? Is it more of a fear, like, what am I going to do with myself? Is it that they personally don't feel that there's enough professional people to kind of replace her knowledge and what she does, or is it the finances? What is her? Because 75. She's lived a wonderful, awesome, fantastic, healthy life. Now let's and live out that, and hopefully 25, maybe even 30 years of her retirement doing something. But
exactly,
or is she doing what she loves?
Yeah, it's more. She likes. She's a professional. She's getting decent income working part-time. And so she likes it. And it's, am I going to be okay if I stop working? Even with their Social Security, it's decent. And I'm showing her, yes, it will work. You've done well. We can position some of your assets to provide additional income and have some of your assets working overtime to grab when you need, liquid. So, but it's more of she's real comfortable with that extra income and not sure, just like
enjoy.
normal people. They're just, does it work? Will I have enough money to keep doing what I want to do? So,
well, one more question, and we don't like to uncover the couple, but she has a husband that's just a little bit older than her, so older than 75. I'm wondering, are there maybe some trips or some things that they would like to do long term together before he's no longer able to maybe do those things together? Are you been able to have kind of the lifestyle conversation or bucket list conversation yet with her?
Well, with everybody, I try to get into their heads about that because, the more I know about what they want to do, where they want to go, what kind of, not just oh yeah, you could pay your bills. You can't do anything fun, but you could. No, that's no way to be retired. I want them to be able to enjoy life. And yes, while they can, I want them to do that. Which reminds me of somebody else I just talked to who I just pointed out, there's things you want to do. So you're young. You can retire right now. And then you have time and you have health to go do those fun things. So why put it off? Why stay in the grind when you don't have to?
For your own complimentary Retire Your Way review, call Dale Soutas of Retire Your Way and Soutas Financial at 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
All right. Okay, but for our math heads out there, and I didn't say the other one. I said math, M-A-T-H, math heads out there. For our math heads, are there numbers that could maybe make somebody like our 75-year-old feel really comfortable, like 10x your salary or 20x your salary or something like that? I'm just trying to use terms because, again, I'm pulling from all of these different articles. How do you know if you're going to be okay to be retired? Like you said, she's making a good income just working part-time as a professional where she's at. Maybe she enjoys that, but she could also start to build in some extended vacation time or, take a working retirement sabbatical. Say, take 3 months off and see what happens. See how much maybe you enjoy it.
Well, in her case, I, like her, agree that she's not going to be able to keep doing what she's doing indefinitely. Health-wise, it can be taxing at times. So there's no little math factor. It's mainly, and in fact, most people find out once they retire, they don't really spend as much as they were when they were working. A lot of times, some because of some of the play check that they need to travel and spoil the spouse, spoil the grandkids or whatever, maybe they do spend as much or maybe a little bit more. So again, have it built into your income plan for retirement. And it doesn't hurt to just have an extra set of eyes on your current situation. Even if you feel like you might be 5 years or more from retiring, what if you find out you're maybe a year or year and a half from retiring based on what you really have and what you need and want in retirement? That would be nice to know that you could get off the spinning wheel faster, right? So,
but I also say this about our wonderful 75-year-old who came into your office, hopefully because they listened to your radio show and said, it's finally time for me to come in. But figuring out, maybe she also enjoys the couple of days, 3 days a week of connecting and feeling part of her work community. I totally understand that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sometimes I have ones, that's the hard part. It's kind of like when you graduate from high school, all your buddies, people you saw, 5 days a week, you don't see them as much, know. So it could be that for some. I don't think that's for her in this particular case. But I do have ones where they're going to miss who they work with. And sometimes people just don't want to fully retire. They want to keep working as long as they can because they enjoy what they're doing, and that's okay too. Let's build your plan around it. I've actually, with this particular lady, I've known her a little over 2 years. We've not done any specific business together yet. We're just keep gathering and getting. In fact, recently I found out there's some other accounts that she and I didn't realize because her husband had been taking care of things. So it just sometimes we find out we need that extra info, and you might need multiple visits just to feel comfortable about retiring, and that's okay. I don't mind. I sit down and we relax. We enjoy visiting and getting crunching the numbers together.
Are you 58 years old out there listening to the program? Are you 68? Are you 70-something? And you're still trying to figure out, do you have enough to be retired? That's part of our retirement readiness review. It's kind of assessing your readiness for retirement. Is it based on an amount that you have, and you want to know if that's enough? And I can totally understand that might make you feel nervous. Do you have enough? Do you want to find out the answer to that question? That alone might give you anxiety. Hey, I was just doing this at a live event recently. A Harris poll from last year had said 70% of Americans have either fear or anxiety about going to speak with a financial advisor. And maybe that's it. Maybe you're uncomfortable with getting the answer. But I tell you what, as you can tell with how rough and tumble Dale is through the voice of his radio, he's just as rough and tumble in person. Look, folks, call the phone number. Come in, sit down with the team. If there's an answer to a question that you've been unsure about, like do you have enough? Or what would that lifestyle look like? Or can I be retired? Have I done okay? Let Dale and the team help you figure out that answer. There's no cost to that. The only cost is taking a moment right now to dial this phone number and schedule your appointment. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382. Ask for your retirement readiness review. No cost from Dale Soutas and Soutas Financial. We'll be right back after this.
What concerns you most when it comes to retirement? Is it the fear of running out of money, the uncertainty of market volatility, or maybe it's healthcare costs as you grow older? At Bowman Wealth Group, we'll work together to develop a comprehensive retirement plan for you that is designed to help protect and grow your wealth while also aligning with your lifestyle goals. Call Chris and Scott of Your Financial Compass and Bowman Wealth Group at 888-506-1176 to learn how we can help you work towards achieving financial security and peace of mind in retirement. Our team can help you navigate the complexities of retirement planning with confidence with a detailed written plan for retirement. Call Chris and Scott and the team at Bowman Wealth for your complimentary retirement review. 888-506-1176. That's 888-506-1176.
Is having $1 million enough to retire? For years, many have considered this to be the goal amount to have for retirement savings, $1 million. But that's the $1 million question. Is that enough for today's modern retiree? Are you sure you've saved enough for a 25 or 30-year retirement? Are you concerned about covering large expenses, including taxes and long-term care? If so, you're not alone. But there is a solution. With a comprehensive financial plan, you can take control of your finances to help you achieve your long-term goals. With Soutas Financial, let us help you work towards peace of mind by implementing a complete retirement strategy. Call Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial Planning right away to receive your complimentary written financial plan. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382. Or you can write Dale at dale@soutas.com. That's SOUTAS.com.
This is Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial. Always here to bring you a laugh, a smile, and stories from the office. I appreciate it. You were just talking about a 75-year-old who is unsure, and they're still working a couple of days a week, and congratulations to them. Really great that they enjoy their profession. You also had a younger gentleman, a young, sprightly gentleman of what? 58, 59?
About 58, yeah.
Okay. Now, was he saying, hey, I want to jump off today, or knowing that I've got a few years to work?
He's going to be working for a while, but as we talked and his goals, the nice thing is he's changing from one employer to another. So his pension, he is with a company that allows him to roll that over into an IRA. So then he can invest that however he wants. And so we're crunching numbers and looking at for down the road when he wants to retire, probably at least 7, maybe 8 years from now. So, and I showed him basically, yeah, if we get that working for you in the way you'll need down the road, especially for income, it's going to produce a lot more income instead of delaying and then, I mean, because you could put it to work and just have it grow, but what about what you need for income? And I showed him the tools that could produce income down the road that he couldn't outlive. He and his wife could not outlive. So it was really eye-opening. He was surprised.
59. So you're giving these tools about a 6, 7, 8 year ramp up to get working for him.
Yeah, for him.
Okay.
And I could use the same tool for others and maybe, create the income immediately or create the income in a year or two, or it's very flexible. But for him, he has time to really get that thing cranking to produce more income down the road, which is in his benefit too.
And this was a quite simple approach. This was from an IRA rollover. He's moving from one position to another. There's also known as the in-service withdrawal for somebody who's 58, 59, or no, 59 and a half, right? 59 and a half or 60, same kind of possibility. And they're setting up what it sounds to me from what you're saying, kind of like their own private pension. And I'm saying like with air quotes. It's like a private pension, right? You're doing the same thing. It's going to an insurance company. It's going to be in the contract. And then eventually you can turn on income that will be stable, that this person won't be able to outlive. Is that correct?
Correct. And the particular one I like for him has ability to increase, or what they call COLAs, cost of living adjustments, upward. So it can actually keep up and hopefully beat inflation through the years. So it's some really nice tools that way. In fact, the 75-year-old, because she might retire this year, whenever she retires. But we found out from her employer, likewise, she can move her retirement account, which she could either turn on as income from them or roll it over to an IRA. So it's an in-service distribution. While she's still working, a lot of people have that ability. In his case, his company's after him because he is leaving that company, moving on, and he doesn't want to take it right now as income. He wants that to work for his future. So that's what we're doing together for the younger one.
Now, that is just kind of also figuring out those income numbers. He's going to continue to work. Is this also you factoring in things like Social Security later, and then kind of cost of Medicare and all that kind of stuff in between? Lifestyle, boating, vacations, whatever it is, kind of already putting together the whole ball of wax?
Well, yeah. I mean, part of the homework I give people, if they don't really have it dialed in to the penny, well, not really to the penny, but dialed in their budget, what do they need month in, month out to pay the bills? And what's the kind of fun that you like doing? Is it travel? How much do you need to do the type of travel you do and how often you want to do it? Things like that. So that's part of the calculations is, what are you going to want to do? And down the road, he's going to have Social Security, and his will be a decent amount, and his wife will get half of what he gets when they both start at full retirement age for them at 67. So that's all calculated into their income plan, and that Social Security could even be higher down the road because he's still working, and Social Security has that cost of living increase a little bit each year. So so we look at all of that. I mean, I don't want people starving. I don't want them not doing the fun things. You know what I mean? Yeah. I tell people regularly, there's many through the 30 plus years of, helping people, that they say, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that, travel by a boat, or, go fishing. I want to join the country club, whatever it is they want to do. And I've seen so many through the years that they retire, they don't do any of it. Their money grows because just in case something comes up, and I go, and then they die and the money goes to the kids, and the kids do all those fun things. They buy the boat, they join the country club, they do the traveling, whatever. So I don't want my families I work with living what we call a just-in-case retirement. We want to see them be able to do the fun things. And if they know their plan gives them what they need to pay their bills, so they and it can keep up with inflation out to the wife's age 100, and then we have money to play with all the way through mid 80s. And if somebody needs care, we trigger some more income to keep you out of a nursing home. If they know the income plan is solid, then it takes the stress out of, the financial side of retiring. They can jump in and enjoy, and they have other money to play with just for the just in cases that they think might come up, but most of the time don't. And most of the just in cases with people, it's interesting. They think, well, something medical. Well, don't you have, Medicare and a supplement, or, you have some health insurance? Well, yeah. Okay, so that covers that. They're really talking about long-term care. So that is why we're big on making sure people have a system to keep them out of a nursing home, have some extra income to stay at home if it's safe and practical, or in some kind of assisted living, cruise ship on land. And again, to stay out of a nursing home, even if they need 24/7 care. There's places that can do that. So we build that in without having to buy that long-term care insurance that you pay forever and you don't know if you're ever going to use it. I'm not a big fan of that.
To get your complimentary Retire Your Way review, call Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial at 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Dale, go ahead and take a breath. Thank you for telling us how you like to help people put together their income strategies. Next, I'm going to ask you a little bit about the investing for retirement and retirement security, especially with volatile times. But for our listeners right now, you can get your own income strategy. Are you in your 50s, your 60s, your 70s? Are you in your retirement and still aren't sure if your money is going to last for you? Dale and his team will put together a complete income strategy for you at no cost to you just from being a radio listener. But you have to dial us. 833-856-1382 is the phone number. That's 833-856-1382. Folks are standing by to schedule your appointment right now. You're not going to interrupt the show. It's going to go to the call center. They'll set up an appointment. Then you can sit down with Dale face-to-face, or we can even start it with as simple as a phone call if you prefer. 833-856-1382 is the phone number. Call that. Keep that phone number. If you're driving around, maybe have your passenger take it down for you. Or if you want to, you can still learn more about Dale at his website, Soutas.com. That's Soutas.com. You know what, Dale, in our pre-show, you actually told me something about another fella who came in recently, and you were trying to kind of explain to him income strategy and why it's so important. And you said that you sent him a link to the movie, and he called you the next day and said, let's do it. How powerful is this movie? What was it?
Well, it's the Baby Boomer Dilemma movie, and it really highlights systems for secure retirement income in your future. It exposes the problems that most Americans have between a pension and 401ks, what we call a defined benefit, which is a pension. Companies are getting away from that. It's hard to calculate how much do I have to save for this employee and how much risk and how much earnings does it have to make for me to guarantee they're going to get this kind of an income when they retire. So they're getting away from that. They're putting the burden of people's retirement on their own shoulders by having them set up 401ks, 403bs, and stuff like that. And then you watch your money jump up and down if it's on the market, which most of them are. And then they retire and they have this big lump, and where's the connection between, a lump of money and income? So it's, what tools do you use to provide income? So it was interesting because he saw me one day, and then I gave him that. Actually, we have the movie cards, or we can email people the link, and then they'll own the movie. They'll be able to see it. And again, that Baby Boomer Dilemma movie. And the 2-minute trailer is on my website as well, if you want to check it out before you request it. But he saw it, and the next day he said, yep, I like this. How do we get this, how do we get this started? Get things rolling.
Hey, folks, you can get a complimentary copy of The Baby Boomer Dilemma, why it is so important, no matter what part of the generation you are. The beginning of the baby boomers? Are you in the middle of the baby boomer generation? Are you just on the outside of it, wondering if you can be and stay retired? This movie is going to really enlighten you on why it's so important to get started on your own personal retirement planning. And Dale can get you a complimentary copy of that code so you can watch that movie in the comfort of your own home. Call right now to watch The Baby Boomer Dilemma. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382. More with Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial right after this.
Do you know how much you might be paying in fees within your retirement accounts? Just 1 or 2% in hidden fees can eat into your savings and potentially hinder your ability to achieve your retirement goals. But how do you know if you're currently paying these hidden fees, and how do you find them? Dale Soutas and the team at Soutas Financial can help you find the fees within your investments and explore solutions designed to assist with minimizing them. Take control of your retirement savings so that you can work towards keeping more of your hard-earned money. Call for your very own complimentary Retire Your Way review and fee finder report. Let us help work towards finding, exposing, and helping to eliminate those potential hidden fees for you. Call Dale Soutas and Soutas Financial today for your complimentary fee review. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Is your largest retirement savings account one that you haven't paid taxes on? Like millions of Americans, you've saved into a retirement account that deferred paying taxes until you take that money out years from now. One method to save on future taxes is called a Roth conversion, and you could do that right now to save yourself from higher taxes in the future. Currently living during the lowest tax rates of likely your lifetime, wouldn't it make sense to pay those taxes now instead of in the future when tax rates could be much higher? Call 833-856-1382 to talk with Dale Soutas and the team at Soutas Financial to see if doing a Roth conversion from your 401ks or IRAs makes sense. Take the Roth Conversion Challenge from Dale Soutas and the team at Soutas Financial. It's complimentary for our radio listeners who are serious about retirement planning. Challenge yourself. Would you rather pay lower taxes now or higher taxes in the future? Call for your own complimentary Roth Conversion Challenge from Dale Soutas and Soutas Financial. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Welcome back to Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial. To get started on your own retirement income plan, call 833-856-1382. You can call it right now because people are standing by to schedule your appointment. No cost to you. Dale, I did say before we had to take the commercial break there for news and weather at the bottom of the hour, investing for your retirement security. Now, I don't think we're supposed to have the same kind of portfolio in our retirement years as our working years. But do you see that
Correct.
Sometimes? People not realizing how much risk they're in?
Regularly, yeah. I see people with various types of accounts that just kind of like, why are you doing it this way? But, it's like a couple I met not long ago that they're in their 70s and they each had these accounts. They're not necessarily IRAs, they're just investments. And it was 90% equity, 10% fixed income, which means, in fact, the statement itself said aggressive growth, which, okay, if you're a kid investing, fine. But at that stage, they know, like I said, you've seen it going like the roller coaster at Santa Cruz, like they call it the Big Dipper. It's up and down, big differences between the highs and the lows. And, well, yeah. Well, here's why. A lot of times people aren't aware of how much risk they're taking, and it's scary. You need to tone it down. You want to keep your money. As you get closer to retirement, you want to keep it. It's not so much how much you can make. It's how much you can keep and use in retirement. You got things to do, right?
Yeah. But wondering how much risk do people, not realize they're taking. For the most part, we have to choose our own funds inside our 401ks, or maybe even those 403bs or TSPs and that kind of stuff. And thinking that we're in those work accounts or those work funds, we move into retirement thinking, well, it didn't seem like I was that risky. Do you do it by a risk percentage? Do you review it that way? Do you look to see how much is equities, how much is bonds? When you said they just came in recently, what was their percentage again on how much they were in equities?
90-10. So that's high risk. A 60-40 mix, 60 stock, 40 bond, basically, or fixed income, is what they call a balanced portfolio. And even that can be risky. In a time like 08, 09, you could lose, easily 35% of your portfolio if it hit and you're in this balanced portfolio. So we want it to be in a risk level that they can handle. And sometimes it's a matter of, if you got 100,000, and if the market drops, 30%, you have, 70,000. Are you okay with that? We look at that whole picture. But some, they need to be able to, put some of their money to work. I have somebody, they got excellent income, and, that's a good problem. They got more income than they really need, and they can do what they want when they want. And so we have accounts set up, and one particular is we do want it more aggressive. He wants to see what can he get on that money, but not all of his money is tied up that way. It's we're going to keep it strategized. We don't want to lose really any of it, but he's in a position he can take a little more risk on some of his money because it's not going to affect their lifestyle. Their lifestyle's already set perfectly because they've got great, pensions and Social Security and things like that. So,
but 90-10, that's a little heavy.
Yeah, especially for ones in their 70s, and that was a big part of their portfolio. It's like that's a little too. That's it's just plain too much.
Yeah, because we're gonna have longer term money. I mean, especially if somebody comes in, let's say 60s, we're possibly looking at 30 to 35 years of need of growth. That includes beating inflation and considering taxes, and is some of the money that you'll be taking out of that account tax deferred accounts. So you're going to need continued growth anyways to pay those taxes. But the market downturns, the ups and downs, the fluctuations of the market, you were just talking 20 minutes or so ago about creating pension-like incomes. Do you divide the money out then over different periods of time, different buckets, different, our short-term 5 to 10 year, mid-term 10 to 15 year, I don't know, in the long-term 20-year plus into different kinds of strategies? Because that's got to get a little more complex for the individual. Today we're all point and click. We want one simple answer, Dale. So, but this sounds a little more complicated.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be overly complicated, but no, I mean, you need money available to play with, okay? You need money to grab at a moment's notice. You might need a new water heater, not a hot water heater, right? Because hot water's already hot. You might need a new roof or HVAC or whatever. So you need money accessible for things of that sort. You might or you have goals of helping the kids and grandkids maybe to buy their first car or first house. So, you don't tie up all your money into, things only to produce extra pension type income. You can have your money working hard, but keep the ride smooth. You don't need the Big Dipper roller coaster. Yeah. Let's get you on more of, something that's more consistent. It's not, you're not going to see the big highs and big lows. But if you do have some money, you really want it just to work overtime, fine. Maybe you can use that 90-10 strategy on some, but that's certainly not for money that you really need or want available, for some of those other little things that come up. Because if the market drops a lot, you don't have it available to grab and use. So you got to be balanced, which does not necessarily mean that balanced portfolio either. I kind of shy away from that word at times, but it needs to be designed for you. What makes sense? How comfortable are you with what level of risk? Maybe you want zero risk. Then there are tools that you can have safety and good returns without, any hint of losing. Has a floor of zero, but you can go up with the market but not down with the market. There's some neat tools like that. But again, everybody's different.
Call Dale Soutas of Retire Your Way and Soutas Financial for your complimentary Retire Your Way review. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Would you say that that is a big mistake for folks when it comes to money management? Is you've saved a big nest egg, you've saved a couple of big nest eggs, maybe you and your spouse, and using the same kind of financial strategy as when you're saving and accumulating, and I don't want to say not paying attention to the market, but if the market is going up and down and you're consistently contributing and you're getting your match from your employer, you know, you're going on with your daily job. You're taking care of the family,
Right.
taking care of yourself. Using the same financial strategy during your accumulation years into your retirement years. Would you say that's a mistake that sometimes you see?
Yeah, it's many times I see, because you're working, you're making money, you're contributing into your account. And if you're fairly young, you're going to be a little more aggressive, of course, because, you know, realistically over a 20-year period, the stock market's going to, you know, give you up, you know, the upside. You're going to end up higher than you started, whatever the right wording is. But anyway, but when you get close to retirement or you are retired, you don't have that income from the other source to be throwing into these investments. Now, you know, accumulation is different than decumulation, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you put gas in your car, and you drive your car, you're using the gas. You eventually have to fill it up. But so when you're working, you're filling up that gas tank. When you retire, how long are you going to be able to keep going? Well, and if you are too aggressive with the accelerator, obviously you run out of gas quicker. So you know, we have to be, especially as we get closer to retirement, build up bigger gas tanks, so to speak, or have ability to make that gas last longer. And there are
Kind of
ways
like
to
a
do
hybrid,
that.
something that has a rechargeable
hybrid, yeah,
engine of
that's
its
a good-
own and the gasoline.
I knew there was an answer out there
Boom!
somewhere. Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
we've come up with a new retirement analogy. Your hybrid car, your hybrid retirement, some of it is rechargeable. Kind of set it, and I don't want to say the set it and forget it, because that's another one of those phrases like balanced. Oh, it means something in the industry. But when you're trying to explain it to people, you mean we're balancing it for you. But same thing with kind of setting it, but having it recharge on its own, meaning maybe an interest rate that isn't affected by the ups and downs of the market.
Well, let's say, like a real example, somebody has a 401k, they got $500,000, and maybe we need, you know, $200,000 of it to produce some additional income down the road. So we have the other $300,000 in such a way that we're using up that $200,000 for, you know, lifetime guaranteed income, let's say. And so we have that $300,000 growing safely, and, you know, maybe in 10 years, within 10 years or so, it's doubled. So we're replacing what you know, so there's the charging, right? So we're replacing what you're spending using the other portion of your, so you don't put all of your eggs in that one income basket. You put enough so that you know your income's solid for retirement, and have other money recharging so that you have, you know, still more to play with down the road through your retirement.
Yeah, folks, make sure that you've got an investment strategy that matches your age, your goals, your risk capacity, and what you're actually trying to accomplish in retirement. Please don't be invested just like you were during your accumulation years. You've got to review and make sure it matches what you're trying to do in retirement. If you are uncertain at all, give us a call. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382. We'll do your investment review along with your income analysis. Do you need to time out your Social Security, figure out exactly when is the best time to take that for yourself, all those healthcare choices, all of that is encompassed in calling the phone number, setting up your appointment. 833-856-1382. More with Dale Soutas right after this.
Are you worried that you waited too late to start your retirement planning? That you waited too late to start saving? At Soutas Financial, we believe it's never too late to start planning for your future. We can help you develop a personalized retirement plan that is tailored to your current needs and goals. The team at Soutas Financial will sit down with you and provide an evaluation of your current path, including your investment strategy, tax planning, and risk management approach. We'll help you identify potential areas for improvement and work with you to create a retirement retirement plan that is designed to help you work towards having financial security and peace of mind in retirement. It's not too late for you to get started with Soutas Financial. Call us today to schedule your complimentary retirement planning session. We believe we can help you get on the path to financial security and peace of mind in retirement. Call Dale Soutas and the team at Soutas Financial to get started on your own complimentary written financial plan. Call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Welcome back to Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial. The phone number for your retirement review at no cost to you, 833-856-1382. Dale, you told me to be quiet during the commercial break because you wanted to bring up the next topic. What is it? Is it taxes, estate planning? Go for it, buddy.
It's kind of a what do you call it? A combination of things. You know, the things that a lot of times people don't realize that they're doing that can really affect their retirement. The taxes. How are you saving? You know, what about estate planning? Your beneficiaries. How to protect your property. I mean, I get interesting questions. I had one recently. You know, at what point do I transfer? You know, do we transfer our house to our kids? And I go, at no point. You don't do that. You know, because they were afraid of this in California that if one or the other needed to be in a nursing home and got on that long-term care Medi-Cal program, the state would come and take the home. And I go, well, number one, if your property's in a trust, the estate recovery for people who are on Medi-Cal, yes, every penny Medi-Cal pays for somebody who's 55 years old or older, it's like a loan. And when they are gone, when they pass away and their spouse, then the state does have the right to ask that money back. But now they can only take it back from assets that go into probate. And why do we set up a trust? To keep your property out of probate. And if your other accounts all have named beneficiaries, they don't go through probate either. So, you know, that's, you know, we can close that door very easily. So the risk of, you know, transferring title, which I see sometimes people do, they want this child or these kids to get the property and they add their names on the title. Well, so I just ask them a simple question. What if one of your kids get into a serious legal or financial problem? Whose house is in jeopardy, you know? So you don't do that. Keep control of your own property, put it into your trust. You're the trustee, you're in control. When you pass away, the house goes to the family, keeps it out of the state size, a private family matter. Under current tax laws, they get a stepped-up basis, which actually that's the other part that surprises people. You know, we paid $50,000 for this property, and it's worth $550,000, and they're thinking, okay, when my kids get it, they're going to have to pay capital gains on that, you know, $500,000, and not if you set it up correctly, you know, where they inherit it. Like through a trust, they get a stepped-up basis. They sell it for $550,000, and that money comes to them tax-free. Again, under current tax laws. Who knows what might happen down the road? So that's some of the tax stuff. Man. I mean, they have a house. Do you have a trust? Many times I find people, oh, no, I don't have a trust. But you have a house. Where do you want it to go? Well, to the kids. Well, it's not going there. It's going to go to the state. They'll decide who gets it, you know. And houses are going up in price.
So this can be particularly on assets, a big mistake of estate planning. And we're trying to think of ways to get assets to our children. Look, things with beneficiary designations, that's totally different, right? Because that's a beneficiary designation.
Right.
But titling them into accounts, not so much a good idea, right? Beneficiaries, okay.
I mean, let's say sometimes moms and dads, as they get up there in years, they might add one or two kids on their checking account so that if something happens, they can pay the bills and all that. There's nothing really totally bad with that. I mean, a good financial power of attorney can give the kids ability to, you know, act on those accounts too, but it might be delayed by activating the power of attorney and so on. But adding kids on title with all your various investments and stuff like that, some of them can be just like the house. You're giving, you add the kids on that house I just talked about that you paid $50,000 for, and it's worth $550,000 now. You add the kids on title with you, you're giving them your $50,000 basis. So yes, when they sell it after you're gone, they're going to pay capital gains. Okay, and that can be on your stock accounts. You know, things that are not like a 401k IRA, because you can't add others on those accounts. Only one person can own those. But you add, if you put your kids on title with your investments that are, have capital gains, same as the house. So you create problems when you do things that way, typically.
Yeah.
And the house, I have on my desk, I have, pens and stuff. I've got a couple Sharpies in there, and I point out to people, you could take this Sharpie, and you got 3 kids, you could write all 3 kids' names on the side of your house. And this is where I want these are the ones who are going to inherit the house, right? And I tell them, I can go and paint and put Dale instead, right? To be silly, because that's not how property works. You have to have it in a trust. Really, that's the best way to transfer it properly. But people don't have these simple.
What about the opposite? So as we get older, should we let the kids write their names on stuff inside the house to make sure that the arguments don't happen later? Can we do that onto Dad's '65 Corvette and just write my name onto the hood so everybody knows it goes to me?
Get your comprehensive, complimentary Retire Your Way review by calling 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Well, even the trust, you can name all kinds of items on a Schedule A, but your will is where you would put personal items. This collection of coins, or this piece of jewelry, or other valuable things you want to go to this child, and you want these other things to go to that child, or whatever, or charities. That's where a will comes into play. But a trust is needed for the property. Beneficiaries are needed on checking, savings, CDs, investments, retirement accounts, and such. Life insurance, have beneficiaries on those, and keep it simple.
By the way, that's a quick tip just right now. Hey, just make sure that you review your beneficiary designations, especially if your family's been growing, ever dynamic. If you've gone through a divorce, oh boy, please make sure you review your beneficiaries. Yeah, you've seen that occasionally?
I've seen crazy stuff. So I had one gentleman we're working with, and a couple years ago, and he, when Mom passed away, Dad, took over everything. But before Dad could actually get beneficiaries set up on the inherited IRA and some other things, he died. And so now half the estate, most of the estate, I should say, is in probate, which is costly. Probate, just a house, $400,000 house, it's going to take maybe a couple years. It could cost $10,000, $20,000, maybe more to get through that probate system. It's a public thing, so anybody can walk in and say, Mom and Dad owed me money, and now it takes longer and costs more. So that's one problem. The other problem I see at times is people name their trust because, the attorney, tells them the trust is like a fancy will, which basically it is. You name your beneficiaries in it. And they name their trust as a beneficiary on their 401ks, their IRAs, on tax-deferred money. In other words, this money goes to trust instead of the kids. And that can create a big tax problem, because if the kids don't know how to handle it properly, it's taxed at 37%, which is the highest marginal rate today, or whatever it is down the road. So you want to name people or charities, whoever you really want your tax-deferred money to go to. And then the other fun thing I had just recently, so here's an example. You got a nice IRA account, and you take your minimums. There's going to be leftover money going to the kids, but that IRA money is still taxable to the kids. And let's say you have 2 children, and each of them have 2 children. So you got 4 grandkids and 2 children. So what I regularly show people is, if your kids are doing really well financially down the road, whether they are or not, name, instead of 50-50, put 48 and 48, and name each of your grandchildren at 1%. What that effectively does is, if that child of yours doesn't need that money and doesn't want to pay tax on it because they're already making good money and all that, they can disclaim interest in it down to their children, your grandchildren, without having to pay taxes on it first. So, but if you don't name, if the grandchildren are not named, then that your your son or daughter wants to give money from it to their kids, then they have to pay taxes on it before giving it to the kids. So it can defeat the purpose. It's a tax planning strategy. So there's a lot of things like that. Or what about even, I've got all this tax deferred money, IRAs and all that, and I've got a bunch of money in savings. How about looking at optimizing a Roth conversion, getting Uncle Sam out of those accounts, teach our children, teach our grandchildren to save without Uncle Sam being your partner, using tax-free vehicles instead of tax deferred.
And that's huge today. And I think that's going to have to be a topic at least we explore again when we've got a little bit more time, because that's going to be all the time that we have for today's program. We've gone from estate planning and starting to dip the toe into the water of tax efficient savings for retirement. How do you do that? We talked about investing, and we went through some case studies, some different folks, different ages, and everybody with the same concern. Am I ready to retire? Do I have enough to retire? If that's on your mind, if that's what you've been thinking about, if you've been listening to the program for a year or two or three and wondering, when should I call? I wonder, I don't know, my situation's too small. I don't want to worry you. I'm not quite ready for it. Stop it. Pick up the phone, call the phone number, come on in, sit down with Dale and his team. There's no cost. Who knows, maybe you'll come back a couple of years from now as well. Maybe you're ready to retire now. Wouldn't you like to find out today? Call the phone number, 833-856-1382, to get your own complete and free retirement income review and your written financial plan for retirement. 833-856-1382. For Dale Soutas, I'm Spike Spangle. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week.
As a valued radio listener of Retire Your Way, Dale and his entire team of retirement professionals invite you to schedule your very own complimentary retirement plan review session. 833-856-1382 is the number for you to call. If you don't have a retirement strategy mapped out that includes low-fee investment elections, tax minimization strategies, decumulation plans that will last as long as you need them to, then call for your very own retirement review session, complimentary for our valued radio listeners. Are you able to lower your taxes in retirement? Are you unclear about your Social Security, Medicare, investment fees and risk, or how to produce guaranteed lifetime income so your lifestyle and goals don't have to be changed with the ups and downs of the market or taxes? Call Dale Soutas with Soutas Financial and be confident you can retire your way. Schedule your own comprehensive and complimentary retirement review session. Don't just live in retirement, thrive. Call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Investment advisory services are offered through Foundations Investment Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The content provided is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The views, statements, and opinions expressed herein are those of the individual speakers and are not necessarily those of Foundations and its affiliates. The information contained herein does not constitute an offer to sell any securities or represent an express or implied opinion or endorsement of any specific investment opportunity, offering, or issuer. Any discussion of performance or returns is not indicative of future results. Any discussions of specific strategies are for informational purposes only and have been provided to help determine whether they may be appropriate for your specific situation. If applicable, the primary goal in converting retirement assets into a Roth IRA is to reduce the future tax liability on the distributions you take in retirement or on the distributions of your beneficiaries. Each individual investor's situation is different, and any ideas provided may not be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Comments regarding a particular client's experience may or may not be the same as another client's experience, and is not an indication that any client or prospective client will experience the same or a higher level of future success or performance. Foundations only transacts business in states where it is properly registered or is excluded or exempted from registration requirements. Registration as an investment advisor is not an endorsement of the firm by securities regulators and does not mean the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. Nothing herein constitutes a recommendation that any security, portfolio of securities, or investment strategy is suitable for any specific person. No legal or tax advice is provided. Please review your retirement, tax, and legacy planning strategies with a legal or tax professional before transacting or implementing any strategy discussed herein. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to investment advisory products. Rates and guarantees provided by insurance products and annuities are subject to the financial strength of the issuing company, not guaranteed by any bank or the FDIC. This is not endorsed or affiliated with the Social Security Administration, any federal Medicare program, nor any U.S. government agency. If applicable, we do not offer every plan in your area, and contacting us at the phone numbers provided herein will direct you to a licensed insurance agent. Any information we provide is limited to those plans we do offer in your area. Please contact Medicare.gov or 1-800-MEDICARE to get information on all of your options. All rights reserved.